While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Kristy.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab. Okie dokie, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Enthusiast Lab. Today we have a special guest, which is Kristy from Alpha Conveyancing. Thank you so much for coming onto the pod.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a bit of an introduction. Who are you?
So my name's Kristy. I'm from Alpha Conveyancing, and I've been in the industry for over 20 years now. So
Fuck.
I've seen it all. I've got two sisters that are conveyancers.
Oh, wow.
Did
a whole
you know
family.
that?
No, I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
So you got like a whole family of just conveyancers.
I got two aunties that are conveyancers.
Jesus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Runs in
Bread.
the blood, eh?
Yeah.
Bread for conveyancing.
So I've always been around property, love property.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. And we've been working with Alpha Conveyancing for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say three.
I want to say 3,
Yeah.
coming on to 4.
Yeah,
quite close.
definitely.
Yeah. And Kristy, Alpha Conveyancing, they are the settlement agents that we work with to help you guys settle on your land and all the things associated with that.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about what a settlement agent is, what do you do, does a client need to use you, and all things associated. So
Because there's actually not much info out there about settlement agents. A lot of times it's just, oh, fuck, I need one. Who do I go? I'm like, Kristy's got it sorted. Like, don't worry, Alpha Conveyance is going to take care of it, especially with new builds. But also, like, if you're going to purchase a property, still, you need I'm pretty sure you need a settlement agent for that.
Yeah.
Same shit. So there's so many different ways that you need it. And a lot of times people just try and Google it. Well, here's all, hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So hear from someone that's been in the industry for fucking ages, in a good way, where like,
It's not going to let that go.
No, absolutely not. But at the same time, it's actually really good because like you've seen the fluctuations of the property market too. So 100%.
Yeah.
So who the fuck are you?
we've done that. So what is a settlement agent?
Yeah, so I've thought we get this all the time, obviously, and
Yeah.
I think it probably comes down to people are not buying or selling property every day.
Yeah.
Like, so it is that whole, maybe you might do that 3 times in your lifetime. And we're not really in the front line as far as building the relationship. So
Yeah.
a client will get time to get used to a real estate agent
Yes.
or a the sales guys from the building team, or you, like, when you're, giving them direction, and then it's suddenly, you need a settlement agent, but I'm not having the same time frame. The contracts are coming in. I think that's probably one of the main reasons why it's an unforgettable experience. Not really, because people are not doing it all the time. There's no loyalty to me, really.
Yeah.
If you've bought with someone, not built with someone, then you built with somebody else, or you're just kind of going with, okay, well, I guess that's who we go with, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not. It's just one of those hidden kind of
Hidden things that you need to do.
Yeah. So it's an essential service. So until you need it, it's not like
You don't need
we're
it
out there
until
in
you
the
need
public, people thinking about us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Unless
tell you-
you're kind of a bit of an investor, or you've got the
Yes.
relationship where we need someone that we can trust to look after our clients. Well, then suddenly you're aware of settlement agents, the good ones, the bad ones.
Yep.
Just fix your hair. It's just
We're
under
just fixing Kristy's hair.
Kristy's hair. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
You can also tighten the headphones.
Because you have a small head.
And a quiet voice.
So in simple terms, a settlement agent is someone that helps you settle
The property.
from whoever is selling the property into whoever the buying his property.
Yeah, it's the transfer. It's essentially the function of the transfer of the land.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's
or
that
property
title.
house.
Yeah.
The title transferring over.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
cool.
Yeah.
And what's the process? You've kind of broken it down. Like, you guys don't really have a huge amount of time to build client relations, and there's not necessarily a huge need for it because
you want the clients to have a good experience, but our function is that it's like that you've got a contract and it's got to be transferred. And because we're playing a role that is heavily governed, we can't, like, you can say, oh, well, we're going to be different because we're going to now service people and our friends and family that built on our passion around cars.
Yes.
So you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have the liberty to make the process really a lot different. The difference then it comes down to is like, oh, but they're much more friendly. Oh, we find them easy to get a hold of. So the process itself is just those legal documents. You've got a contract, it's got to transfer land, they've got to complete the legal documentation.
Okay. So what does the process actually look for you guys when, say, one of our clients is referred to you guys? We write Alpha Conveyancing on the
nominated settlement agent for the client.
Yep. This is where we'd like you to just go with her. She's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does the process actually look for you guys in the back end? So you have received a client who is now going to, like, in the future, I've sent you the email saying these clients are using you. This is their details. What does the process look like?
Yeah. So the good thing about our process is because I know how you work, you know how we work, and we're wanting the client to have this really good experience where it feels controlled and that we're all on the same page. That initial referral, an introduction to the client kind of sets the scene for then me contacting the client. So they're already like kind of somewhat aware. They don't know what we do, but they're then somehow aware, oh, okay, this is a trusted person. So, we'll call the client, we'll let them know that our role is to transfer, we'll be helping them transfer the property. And then again with our team, because it's the same people, we know that then when the finance is due, we know the milestones of how to guide that client through signing the documents, getting through the conditions of the contract, titles, and then moving to settlement. But it still comes back to that initial contacting the client, I guess those key dates, but the documents we get done right from the get-go.
Yeah, cool. So it's just a lot more of that communication the entire way, just keeping that client up to date with going, hey, this is what we're doing. We're here to help on your behalf.
The finances
exactly.
due. Yeah. Yep. And then you've got the teams in the background. You're doing your role. You're the finance people doing their role.
Yes.
And then we're kind of, dovetailing, with each other.
Yeah, in between.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And is it just you guys, like, what's the word I'm trying to find? Which other companies or governing bodies do you need to communicate with to get the title moved over from the seller to the buyer? So I know you guys need to communicate with the mortgage broker because you need to make sure that it's allocated in.
They're getting the finance. And that's a big so the key people in the whole process really is then obviously the building connector, like whether it's the builder direct or the developer. So you guys are the key, the client, us, the mortgage broker, and the banks.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So they're the key. And then behind the scenes is then the stamp duty. If they're first home buyers, then the stamp duty is the factor that comes in. And then Landgate is obviously the other big, like the big player. Because especially with titles, everyone's waiting. When are we going to get our titles?
Yeah. Okay.
And for listeners who don't know who Landgate is, can you quick summary on who Landgate is?
Landgate are essentially our governing body that holds all the records of the land title ownership.
Yeah.
Sweet. Is that just for WA or
just
Australia?
For WA. So every state has their own because it's different legislation. Every state has their own. So Victoria has Land Vic.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Landgate is WA only.
That's our WA
Yeah,
one.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the grants. How do the grants affect the process of settlement?
It can fuck up settlement. It can delay shit. Kind of fuck. We've had that before. Fucking brokers and
it's
and
the
everything.
eastern state. So this is where the states are different.
Yes.
So when we have an eastern state broker, the conveyancers in Victoria and I think in New South Wales, they lodge the fault. It's the conveyancer's role. But in WA, it's the broker's role and they lodge it with the bank documents.
Right.
So, like, you've got to think, you've got someone, whether they're buying a land that's 260,000 or 430,000, everyone's crunching numbers.
Yes.
So, you know, you're trying to get the grant because you know that gives you the waiver of the stamp duty. And so it comes to settlement, and you can't be saying to a client, it's not so much that, you know, you get there in the end, but you can't settle without the money. You know, how do you say to a client, oh, well, sorry, we don't have the FOG approved yet, so now that means you have to pay the stamp duty, and it could be $5,000 or $12,000. But then we're already getting their deposit.
The deposit funds that they needed to complete.
Yeah, they've already worked so hard and saved like crazy to get their 30,000 or whatever they need to put aside to cover all their costs and make the deposit. How can you then ask them for another
10 because
5 or 8 because someone didn't lodge the paperwork?
Yeah, that's fine.
Crazy.
And I don't know where this is where it gets a little bit tricky sometimes for us, because we kind of try and educate clients to say, but this is our role. So if your first homeowners isn't approved, or I should be able to trust that a broker's I shouldn't have to do a check 10 days out, 5 days out, 3. We do it 5 and 3, and then think, oh, what can see it's been lodged and things like that. The broker, you got to be able to trust that.
The broker's going to do their fucking job.
I don't want to have to check that every broker's lodged the FOG form kind of thing in time to get it approved in time.
Yeah.
Because if the title, let's say title's all out and we're moving to settlement, but you know the funds don't come in or something, and settlement gets delayed, there can be costs incurred to the clients, isn't there? From the developer, they can sometimes hit them. Hey.
Oh, big time. Most developers aren't too bad, but there's definitely, well, you'll get it, of course. Land tax is one that gets carried forward. If you don't settle at 30 June, that's a bigger cost. That can really hurt someone. But yeah, it's definitely, you don't want settlements delayed. It's just not the nice. It's not good.
It's not good.
You want to stick to the kind of plan. And things do happen though. Like obviously we've had clients where we've said, oh no, you've got to move the money here, and then they've either put it in the wrong Commonwealth account or, you know, so, you know, and then you think, oh God, you got to move. So, you know, stuff happens, but there's a 3 days grace as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's kind of where that comes in, because if they lodge that FOG form, so they realise that something's wrong with it, within 2 or 3 days it'd be approved.
Okay. So it doesn't take like weeks or anything.
Or they've forgotten the money's still in their ING savings account. Oh, well, 2 or 3 days, it's moved. It's fixed.
Okay, cool. Sweet. That's a good one.
You've mentioned in the back end, you know, you're chasing up to make sure that the FOG form is submitted. What other things are you guys doing in the back end? You said, you know, you're liaising with Landgate. What other things are happening in the back end that clients don't know about, I guess?
Well, I guess for us to get all the information on the property, so the contract needs to be processed, that's one. So that has to go to the Office of State Revenue. So that kind of is a lodgement. We lodge that online. And then you've got the Water Corp, the Shire. Yeah. You guys don't do many of the stratas, like the smaller things where there might be a strata insurance or strata body corp. And the Land Titles Office. So there's all those government departments. And then, I mean, obviously you are keeping in contact, or then the developer might be sending out releases, and then clients are out. So you've kind of got really, I guess it's still coming back to your processing the contract, and your touch points are where it's who is relevant at the time. So once finance is approved, sometimes then the developer might drop back a bit because they're not chasing, we're on the home stretch, we're settling now.
Yeah.
So
what's the average time frame that can be done, like to get approved, like to move to settlement? Like, is 7 days enough? Is 14 days ideal?
I say a good settlement is a quick settlement. Yeah, the quicker the time frame, the better, because you stay focused. You don't need extra time, because then you're just in this time's money, and it's just a limbo to me.
Yeah.
So, but you've got to also allow for the a reasonable time for certain things to get done.
Yep.
So, but I would say 10 working days is more than enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
To go to settlement once we've got titles and finance.
Yeah, cool. So, because some developers might put a 7-day, settlement clause or 21 days. So if it's around that 14 days that they nominate in there, that's pretty good because that gives us that 2 weeks.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And look, most developers are quite good.
Yes.
But you don't want your clients to get caught out either.
Yeah.
And if you've got a really quick turnaround and it just so happens that they've gone away for a holiday,
fucked.
And then it's like, oh, that's 7 days out of our 10.
Yeah.
And you got a developer who's not so great or kind, then
a little bit messy.
It can cause
then we could get
problems.
penalties and so.
Well, that kind of started to question my next answer my next question, which was, are there any issues or hiccups that can happen, and how do you guys resolve those hiccups and issues? What have you seen in the past?
She's probably seen everything.
Everything.
In my 20
plus years. Fuck.
I think it goes back to communication. It's not normal. The process, once you've been in business normally your process is pretty good. So it's either that the client hasn't understood what you've asked them to do, or we haven't explained it well enough, or they're just not sure. They're the things I think when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's not so much, they'll get their finance, we'll get our titles, but if they were told that they were going to get titles in August and it's now November,
what's happening?
It's gone wrong.
Yeah.
It's gone wrong to them, because then are they signing up for another 6 months of rent? Are they?
Yeah.
So I don't think you can't really go wrong with the process, because it's already really
because you have to follow a certain procedure.
It's already determined, really.
Because as settlement agents, do you guys need a study to become a conveyancer?
Yeah, so you get a diploma in financial services in conveyancing.
Yeah, right.
True.
Okay.
How long's that?
I think it's 2 years part-time.
Okay.
So probably like a year full time.
Or a year.
Yeah,
there's a
full-time.
course.
Yeah. Right.
And communication with clients is obviously really important to you guys. Do you do phone conversation, emails, or do you meet them in person at any point in time? Can it be DocuSigned, or do documents need to be signed in person? What's the go process with that?
Yeah, so we've got a process of call the clients first, because then you can get a real good idea of, they'll just say, just so you know, I'm night shift, or I'm FIFO, that's why you couldn't catch me. So we're definitely trying to call them and get an idea of, hey, are they going away? Because people will tell you surprisingly a lot and quite quickly.
Yes.
So we call them and just remind them, hey, this is how we fit into the puzzle. And then you're going to expect some documents. So then they get prepared and they get sent out. And that normally will spark maybe a question, and we say, if you got any questions though, come to us. But again, you've got to think we're still really kind of strangers
in
to
the process.
them.
To the whole thing.
So that's where they'll call you.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is your
100%.
favourite part of my job.
Yeah. I reckon dead set, 1 in 3.
Yeah.
1 in 3
because then
clients.
it's like, but they're asking me about title insurance, which I know you want to talk about
Yes.
as well. But, what is this? Do we need it? It looks like it's going to cost money.
Yeah.
So, and then no, that's Chris, just give her a call. She'll explain it better than I can. And then they're circling back to us.
Yep.
And then,
And going through. And I know in the docs that you guys send off.
And DocuSign.
Yeah, it's DocuSign. Cool. So, and with all the documents, there's normally a breakdown of obviously your fees and all the costs associated with it. Could we go in a bit of a rundown about, does a client have to pay those directly themselves? Obviously, I know some of it's structured with the finance broker, but if we talked about a first home buyer, that is applicable for the grant and stuff. What does it look like? Do they need to pay that to you directly, or how does that work? What's it entail?
So it's probably the easiest way to liken it to is that you get paid by the builder.
Yes.
The brokers get paid by the banks.
Yes.
And then we get paid by the the overall deposit, like the estimated feasibility. So any buyer that's buying is going to go to a broker and then say like, oh, what's it going to cost me? So our fees get allowed for in the cost
of the mortgage,
of transferring the property.
Okay.
And some clients obviously might be able to lend more than others. So it's going to look different for everybody. But a good broker is going to allow for the stamp duty if there is any, or their water rates, shire rates, our fees, like our service cost, and then the government, there's some small government charges.
Okay.
So it forms part of then their deposit. So they are paying for our service, yes, but it will get captured in that deposit.
Perfect. Because there's a few times where like I've sat with our broker Maddie that we use, and she obviously nominates a overall amount for that. So then it's taken care of. Yeah, she does a lump sum in there, and that normally smashes it each time. So when the client asks us going, oh fuck, we've got this whole breakdown, I'm like, bro, it's taken care of. Between the first and bonus grant. Between the grant, between what Maddie's told you, you just get to that figure that we told you.
Just save that much and you're good.
And you're good. Yeah, exactly. And then when it comes to like a second home buyer and stuff like that, same thing. The broker will, if they're good at what they're doing, they'll do, this is the requirements that we need for stamp duty and for the deposits, and this is what you also need to allow for the settlement agent, because for all the fees associated.
They get the breakdown. But they'll get it more high level. So Maddie will just put like $3,000. And then I'm giving them a breakdown of, out of that $3,000, it's like $1,500 for your, $500 for your water rates, $1,000 for your shire rates, Landgate fees, all of the I'm giving them
itemized.
You're basically giving them the receipt for what they're paying in the total.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, that's actually really, really handy for people to understand. It's basically like a receipt, but it's been taken care of with the broker.
It's all it's already allowed for.
Perfect.
Let's circle back because you've mentioned it, and I think it's a great time to segue into it. Title insurance.
The fuck is it? You've explained this to me probably like 6 times in the last like 2 years, and I still can't fucking explain it to people.
So title insurance is it's actually an American concept originally.
Okay.
And then Australia has it's an American company that we use or an insurer, but then it's in Australia, it's been a lot more common recently. So, and then our department gave us essentially a bit of a strong direction to say we need to offer title insurance. So even for me, I was like, well, I didn't really like the idea of we're selling insurance kind of thing. And when I started to think of like, do my clients really need it? And then there was a couple of things that happened, and I'd heard about a few cases, and then I thought, maybe I should actually look into it. But essentially it is an insurance policy, so it's optional. You don't have to have it. I need to be able to make sure our clients are protected.
Yes.
So it covers clients for things that it's not part of the process for us to do a survey of the boundary of the lot, for example.
Right.
It's not up to us if they're buying an established home. It's not up to us to get the plans. Or it doesn't form part of the process of what we do. So you've got clients that are buying land. Let's just focus on that particular one. Under the Stewart title, there's key things that they'll cover you for if post-settlement it comes up. So unauthorised building works is one of them. So if you're buying an established home, that's, and then you realise that the balcony wasn't approved or something, that's a problem, right?
Yes.
But for your clients in particular, with land, boundary. So it has definitely happened. There's definitely claims. There's 2 examples that come to mind with land in particular. One was where the fence line was out. So the builder had already put the slab down. So how does it happen? Really? But the builder had already put the slab down, the setback from the fence line, and the fence is in the wrong spot. The neighbour then is building, but their builder does the survey and says the fence is out, and then they've got land. So that was a claim, because then essentially they can't move his house. The slab's down. This house is at play height.
What do we do?
So Stewart Title came in.
Okay.
They'll come in and go, well, there's a claim here. There's a problem. But you would have to either sue your neighbour.
And the builder.
or the builder who trace it all back. Who's got the time? No one's returning your calls. Go down that.
Yeah.
Or there's something like Stewart Title that would cover. That's a tip. That would be
True.
the type of thing that would happen. That's why it's so like you'd never want. But imagine if that was your client.
Yeah, I've actually seen that physically happen.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I didn't know that the title insurance can help cover for that. So what would happen in that sense? Would they then give a payout to that client who took out the insurance and go?
And they'll chase the builder.
Yeah.
Is there a set amount, like, you know, like a cap limit type of thing? You know, like how building insurances, you have like a cap limit if they go under type of thing?
I think there might be, but it's so generous. Like I don't. Yeah,
true.
I think like any underwriter, I think that's not. I've never heard of anyone saying, "Oh, they couldn't get it," and I've heard of claims being in the.
True.
You know,
okay.
Right up there. That's one of them. And another one that I had was they bought off a private person, and he actually ended up being the front, you know, a block behind.
Oh, yeah. Like subdivision. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he'd done the subdivision, the front guy, and the back block, he'd left all like a pool or something underneath.
Oh. Wow. So he didn't actually clear it. He just fucking covered it.
So my client who bought this back block was like, oh, the builders said that they've got to stop work.
Because there's a pool underneath.
Yeah, or a heap of junk. Like I think like a lawnmower. And put all the junk in the pool and just.
Wow.
That's wild.
Wow.
So it came and her build was on hold. The builder was saying, well, sorry, we've got to increase the prices. It was kind of during COVID or somewhere around that time, post-COVID.
Yeah.
And her claim got paid. I can't remember. I think it might have been 18,000.
Wow. Yeah. That's fucking cool to see that. That's how it can come in to help. And that's like a one. I've never fucked. I don't remember you. Yeah, like even the examples you gave, I don't think I was actually paying attention when you were saying it. Because otherwise,
the one you saw.
Yeah. Look, I'll be the first one to admit that one. But that's actually really interesting because I don't. So, for example, developers put a clause into their land contracts that, you know, especially because everything's untitled now, right? And they'll say, this is 12.5 by 30, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it can change.
Oh, but they have an allowance up to 5%.
Yes, exactly. So let's say it did happen and their 375 square block actually went to 365. So they lost 10 squares. They can't use the title insurance to combat that because they signed that land contract, didn't they? So technically,
it's not so they couldn't if it's within the land contract anyway. But it also comes into effect once they own the land.
Right.
So that would be an issue with the builder.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
no
or
worries.
seller.
Yeah. So realistically, it gives you that little bit of protection in case the builder fucks up and builds your neighbour's house into your boundary.
Boundaries would be a big one for your clients.
Yeah, for our clients. So boundaries, or if you're buying something established, especially like a subdivision type of thing, when you don't know what's in there, maybe could be
less likely to happen with the estates, like the Stocklands, the Peats, you know, like less likely.
Yep.
But that's not to say that it doesn't happen.
That it doesn't happen 100%. But if you're buying like a 1930s.
Actually, didn't you have that one with the fence and the fence was going on an angle?
No, I had one
where someone
the builder actually fucking built on the client's thing. Yeah. But I didn't take out insurance, so. But they got sorted. You got sorted, but that was a gnarly fucking thing. But let's say if the client found a house that's 1930s, 1940s, whatever, double story, and they bought it, and then they realise that this motherfucker's done some home renovations that aren't to scale, and now is going to have to collapse and, you know, and fix it up. Can they use that additional insurance? That Stewart insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's the other big one.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You bought the property, you thought it was all approved, you thought it was fine, and then suddenly it's not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Is it like a fixed fee, how much that is, or does it fluctuate?
Stewart Title is scaled, so it's between certain amounts.
Okay.
But it's actually really reasonable. So for our clients, it'd probably sit around $200, but they only pay it once.
Yes.
So just the one-off when at settlement.
Yep.
And then that's for the life that they have the property.
Yeah.
True.
So,
so as long as they own it.
Yeah. So it's not really a big cost that if you happen to be that client that then had to if the builder came and fixed it, fine. But what if they didn't and your client had to
had to try and fork it out? Okay, so that's actually really cool. I want to do a quick recap on it because that will be really worth as a reel for people to understand. So in 30 seconds, you're going to have to recap this for us. Ready? Title insurance
protects the client from any boundary issues once they've owned the property, and it's a one-off policy fee for life.
Perfect. And that's honestly, and for people that want more info into it, listen to this podcast because that is fucking sick.
Yeah, that was a really good. Thank you. Good take.
Yes, 10 out of 10.
Something that Nick also brought up.
Oh yes,
which is we actually recorded this episode with Jess and Dylan. So if you guys are regular listeners, you'll know who we're talking about.
Shout out to you guys.
Shout out. So Jess built a home on her own, and then throughout the building process, she met a man, and they're now together. Great guy. They're now together, and she's looking at getting him to buy into the home and transfer the title into joint names. Is that something you guys do? Is that difficult? What's the process?
Have you experienced that before with other clients? Like, what's the go? What's the process? Because she was saying it could be like 1 or 10K or something. I was like, fuck, that sounds weird.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Well, I'd hope I'd get 10K. No, so the thing with that, what people don't realise, so yes, and it does, of course it happens, or we find that it might happen even during the build. They're not, they meet someone at the start, they bought a block and they haven't, mid-build kind of things. There's a couple of things around that. The biggest one is the bank has to approve it.
Okay.
Because then you've got a mortgage and the bank has said, well, we've agreed that like Nick can have the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, they're not saying that you can have it. Mm-hmm. And what if you've got debt and
stuff like that?
I come with baggage.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, no.
Okay.
So then it's like, the bank might say you can't do that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So so basically, that's one of the biggest things. But otherwise, yes, it's called a spousal exemption.
Okay.
Or so you're adding your spouse. Sorry.
Yes.
And then there's no stamp duty because you're adding your spouse. It's a spousal exemption.
Yep.
And we charge like a flat fee for it of like $550, 600 if there's a bank.
Yes.
So there's like different because the banks then it does take a bit more involved.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just a fee to Landgate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But in the background,
so I would
before
say
you get
$1,000 to
cool.
It shouldn't be.
But in the background, before we can get to that, we need to make sure that the bank approves
the bank
it
says,
and amends it.
Yeah, because they then have to
new docs.
go. It's a new mortgage.
Yeah. So basically, like refi.
Yeah. So
you'd wait. Yeah, I would say when I get clients that do call and say, "Can I do this?" I do say to them, "Hey, why, or have you spoken to your bank? Maybe you should wait until you're ready to refinance because then you're gonna have to make changes anyway.
Yeah. So do it.
So there's going to be a cost. So you might as well wait.
Yeah. Hit two birds with one stone, basically, if you can.
Yeah, perfect.
That's really cool. Like I think that's a really good one because we have seen that before with single blokes and they get it. Just as an example. So if they want to pursue it, then at least we know it can be done. Start with the broker and then reach out to Kristy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or the team.
Still call.
Yeah.
So it's something that I'm trying to think why they probably just naturally think, oh, well, they helped me with the title. So I think they'd probably naturally then think to call us.
Yeah, because you guys issued it.
100%.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's so hard to figure out that because there's not much information out there. So if we can get that info and send it out there, then people.
And some people, they don't think it. They're just not even worried about it.
No. Yeah, exactly it.
So
some people just don't care.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
That's all my questions, really. Is there anything you would like to add, Kristy?
Yes, Kristy.
I think one of the things that is one of the biggest takeaways is that the relationship is what will make the experience, obviously, for the client so good. So I really value that, once you've kind of really got that process and the relationship, that it does the clients, I think the experience for the client is a whole lot better. Mm-hmm. And it's nice that then, we've also then had the benefit of your clients then referring us their friends and family because, you do a good job kind of thing. But that comes off the back of how how everyone's worked hard to go, hey, like we've been introduced to each other, but then it's like, well, let's see how this goes. And then we've had to iron out some of the details. No, because I think for our clients, we want to really make sure that because they're first home buyers that they really understand and
What's the a very rough percentage of obviously the business that you guys get? Is a lot of just first home buyers or you get a lot of second home buyers? What do you guys do a lot of? Do you know?
I reckon it'd be probably 25% first home buyers.
Right, okay.
And then maybe 50% of second, selling, people selling or second home buyers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then 25% developers, like people doing small subdivisions, bigger subdivisions, like the actual development work.
Yeah, killer. Right. That's awesome. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably about 25% of land.
First home buyers.
First home buyers. About 20% is mystery.
Yeah.
So just as a quick summary, guys, what is a settlement agent? Is a agent that helps transfer the title of land from the seller to you.
Yep.
And do you need one? Yes. Title insurance is optional, however, recommended. And you don't personally pay from your pocket. You don't pay the settlement agent from your pocket. It is included into your mortgage price and the mortgage pays the settlement agent.
Yep. The only thing that's not included in that breakdown is normally that title insurance. That is your own, you have to pay for that yourself. So if you decide to go, I'm going to take out the title insurance, you need to sort out those funds yourself. It's not included into your mortgage because with our broker, with Maddie and stuff, they just do the general overview of the whole of the service. That's a personal option whether you want to take it out or not. You don't need to. It's not a legal requirement to take it out.
No, it's definitely it's 100. It's optional. You just got to consider if you feel like there's value in it. Or some people might be like, well, I'm really risk adverse, so I don't really care. I'm getting it. Yeah. But it's most brokers and even Maddie, they allow for a bit of a buffer because they're not going to let a client. Then again, we don't want to be asking. For any money.
Yeah.
So they won't leave it right down to the line. So most of the times we find it's covered.
Yeah.
Which so that's kind of factored in. Yeah.
Perfect.
Killer.
And you hope maybe they don't even realise they've taken it out, but if they had to use it, it's
Yeah. How are you finding Maddie?
Oh, she's good.
She's good, eh?
It's the same thing. It's like the emails pop up and you go, oh, I'll know.
Yeah. I know what's going to
as opposed to who's this broker? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll what do
Yeah.
they want? I don't quite get it.
Yeah. Whereas you see Maddie cool, we're on.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much, Kristy, for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you. Short and sweet. It's actually really good. I really like this episode because there's just no info out there about it.
Trying to Google it and explain it, it's so difficult.
So are you like a legal entity type of thing? Is it a legal thing?
It's not. So we're not lawyers, although in some states you have to be.
Right.
But it would be we can't. Well, we're financial services. We come under financial services in actual fact.
Okay. Cool. Killer. Really, really stoked out. I'm really thank you, honestly, for coming.
And then you'll still be like, hey, it's me. Can you call me about that title insurance?
Next week, expect a phone call.
The client's called and I still don't know what it is.
100%. I'm going to have to listen to my own episodes.
I'll just send you.
Just send him his own episode,
And so just listen to your episode between 35 and 36.
I'll just skip it for you. Put it on repeat.
Save it as a soundbite and just keep emailing it back to me every week until it's ingrained in my brain.
We really do appreciate you coming into the pod. We've been wanting to get you on for a really long time.
Yeah, we have talked about it for a while. Yeah.
So really
got everything.
Stoked that you've come on board. Let's plug Alpha Conveyancing. So you guys do have a website that clients can visit.
Website, Facebook, and Insta, which I think I said to you, no one's scrolling looking for a settlement agent.
But at least the info
is there.
All that you need is going to be on the website with, with a little bit on Facebook.
Perfect.
It's not like, shop these around very often,
Yes.
but you guys do have a great website that does explain a lot and has all your contact details on there.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll plug Mr Enthusiast, so you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, website, Google, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify.
Yes, you
two
can.
go.
Yeah, I know. We're literally
Show
like
offs.
bang everywhere.
Bring out the list.
Just dust out the scroll and just watch it roll down.
If you guys could follow, subscribe, leave a review or a rating, that would be amazing, guys. It really helps us in the back end.
And if you've got any settlement queries, reach out to Alpha.
Yeah,
have a chat to
definitely.
Kristy or Charlotte.
Yeah.
They're basically, Kristy and Charlotte both work very closely with us. A lot of our clients will either hear from Kristy or Charlotte directly because she handles most of the work.
Yeah, we work as a team,
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
really good.
And
Really good.
if you're okay with that, I'll pop maybe your emails down below or phone number. Or I'll pop some links down below for clients to be able to click on and have a quick browse.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll never forget, there was, because Kristy was actually helping us with our property and I was going through the documents and I actually saw what her actual business name was.
Oh my God.
Guys, it's fucking sick. What's your business name? Because you trade as Alpha
Alpha
Conveyancing.
Conveyancing.
What's your business name?
The G unit.
The G Unit Pty Limited. Bro. Ryan, put some fucking G Unit music in when that comes in. I fucking love it. Guys, if you're going to find anyone, find these guys just for the business name, honestly. Don't worry about anything else, just the business name G Unit Pty Limited. That's so sick. I love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be my number plate when I get my G-Wagon.
Yes. When you get the G-Wagon, it's going to have G Unit on it. Done.
Well,
It's on the podcast, so we will be chasing you up for this.
Chasing you. Well, just remember, guys.
We're not here.
Oh, I say
Yeah,
it.
you say it. You say it.
To fuck spiders.
Damn straight.
Have a great day, guys.
See ya.
Bye.